All right, so I'm going to give you another video here just on some lower body corrective exercises and ranges of motion to assess and check out. So again, the hips and the lower body and the leg muscles there are, again, all of them are super important. Shoulder muscles are important, neck muscles, stomach muscles, lower body muscles, foot function muscles, all of those are, equally important. They all have their certain roles and functions. However, what I've noticed over the 23 years that I've been doing this type of stuff is that a lot of people have lower body dysfunctions. We sit on our glutes all day and our hamstrings, and a lot of times by having that increased pressure of sitting all day long, it basically deactivates those muscles. So if you can think about it, just for a quick example with your upper body, if you were to compress your bicep muscle here and just squish it down, I challenge you to do this. I'm not going to do it on this video for the full time, but just squish down on that bicep for 5 minutes and really compress it. I mean, put like a good amount of your weight on that bicep muscle. And my challenge is that, and I'll do this even for like, the next 20 seconds or so, but the challenge is to really squish that muscle, like similar to the way that you sit on your glutes or on your hamstrings, okay? Now, what I want you to do is, after you've held that for like 20 or 30 seconds, maybe even a minute or so, is compare your bicep flexion motion with your right arm to your left arm. And right now, as I do that, my right arm feels different than my left. My left feels perfectly fine and normal. This one just feels a little funky, okay? But what I was doing is I was just compressing it for only about 20 or 30 seconds or so. So that's one thing to keep in mind, is a lot of times why we see such lower body dysfunction is because we spend a lot of time in a seated position. One other thing to think about is when you are out backpacking or camping many times, like with a backpack out in the middle of the wilderness, you can't really necessarily find a comfortable spot to sit. So even if you have a nice little campfire and you have a log near the campfire or a rock that you're sitting on, you can only sit there for maybe 15 or 20 minutes before you feel like, well, that rock is definitely pushing into my butt. It's not very comfortable. So what do? You typically stand up. You go get some more firewood. You go get some water. You unpack your backpack and set up your tent. You do those things. That's how our body, in my opinion, was intended to operate. It's not intended to sit in front of a computer or your car or in front of your TV for multiple hours in a row. It is designed to maybe be there for a short amount of time, but then you need to get up and walk around. Our glutes are extremely important to allow us good posture and good mobility. So here are a few exercises and ranges of motion to kind of check on those things, but it's imperative that we get those muscles working again. Again, like I said, in my last 23-ish years of doing this, I've noticed a lot of glute dysfunction. People just don't feel those muscles very often, okay? So just really be aware of the whole top to toes to nose. You have to feel all those muscles. Like I said in one of the earlier videos, you have to kind of mentally be able to flex any one of those muscles just as easily you can with some of your more flexed muscles, like your bicep. You should be able to feel that squeeze just like I can on my arm everywhere on all these other muscles. So here's a couple of lower body range checks, okay? So one thing you can do is just do these side to side leg raises. So as you're standing up straight like this, you're just trying to lift that leg out to the side and just kind of monitor as you're lifting it, what is your leg doing? How high is it going? So I can kind of see on the bottom view of the camera, I can go a little easier to my right side, and when I go to the left, I kind of have to lean a little bit to get my foot to the same height. So right there, I can get it to there. That goes down as soon as I stand up straight. So just be aware of where you're able to get. Now, when you do this, what you should feel are these side butt muscles doing the job, okay? You really shouldn't feel anything on the inner thigh. Those bring your legs in. These outer butt muscles help to raise your legs out to the lateral side, okay? So you should feel something along that lateral edge. A couple of key tricks on this one is right now I have my feet in this parallel position. You can try to turn your feet slightly out or even slightly in, and you may have to do like this type of stance in order to make them feel equal. But the idea is that as you do these lateral leg lifts, that you're feeling kind of those lateral butt muscles do the job. So as I'm doing this, again, I notice that I have to lean a little bit more this way to get this leg up to the same height. But what I'm working on is really trying to kind of mind stimulate these side butt muscles. I'm gonna kind of show you from the side. I'm just trying to lift that leg laterally, left and right, feeling those lateral butt muscles. Okay, again, it's not supposed to be extremely stressful. You're just trying to wake up those side butt muscles. Okay, so that's exercise 1, 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15 repetitions on both sides. We're trying to engage those lateral butt muscles, okay? Exercise number 2 is we're just trying to do the same thing, front and back, okay? So this one we're only doing one leg at a time, but I'm just lifting my leg up in front with a straight knee and then bringing it behind me with that straight leg. Okay, and again, I'm just kind of monitoring how high can I get it in front of me and how high can I bring it up behind me. And I'm also monitoring how far I have to tip my body forward. Okay, so here's a better side view when I'm lifting up in front, and then trying to pay attention, how much do I lean forward to get that same range to the back? And then I switch sides, and I just try to lift that one up and see how far back I can go on this one. So for me, on this front hip flexion, I notice this one's a little lower than this one. I can get this guy a little higher, this one's a little lower, okay? So when you bring this leg forward, your forward lifting muscles are right here. It's kind of like lower abs and hip flexors. Not so much like on the thigh muscles, but it's kind of in this region here is where you should feel those muscles when you lift your leg forward, okay? When you're lifting your leg behind you, you should feel that back butt, okay? On that first exercise, we're working side butt muscles. But now going behind you, you should feel this back butt muscle, right where the back pocket would be on a pair of jeans. You gotta feel that guy waking up, okay? The same thing back here, all right? So again, the exercise and the range of motion, right? It's just lifting front, you should feel front hip flexor. Lifting behind, you should feel that back butt muscle, okay? So again, 2 to 3 sets, 10 to 15 repetitions, but those are what you have to feel. You should be feeling hip flexors when you go forward. You should feel these back butt muscles when you go backward with that one, okay? All right, and then one more. This one I just call kind of my soccer pass. So for this one, I'm trying to bring my right leg across my left standing leg, and I should feel my right inner thigh muscle. And so that's kind of like a in front of my leg soccer pass, okay? But now I'm gonna try to do that fancier soccer pass where you try to bring it behind you and across, okay? So when I do that, I'm trying to engage this right inner thigh muscle. You might feel a little bit on that left inner thigh, but where you should not be feeling it, you should not feel these outer butt muscles. Those push your legs lateral. We are trying to work on the muscles that bring your legs together. So again, you just kind of pay attention, how far can you come in front and across, and how far can you go behind and across, okay? So I'm just doing this front and across soccer pass and this behind and across soccer pass. And again, as I do that, I'm trying to feel this inner thigh muscle on the moving leg. Okay, and then I can repeat and kind of check my range of motion. And for me, it does take a little bit of balance. If you need to, you can hold on to the back of a chair as you do this. But again, we're just going really slow and we're just trying to engage. And I have a little trouble on this one. I don't know if you saw I lost my balance there a little bit. But we're trying to bring that left inner thigh muscle kind of online, okay? This one's definitely tighter. I don't have the same range on my left one as I do on my right. So this is one where I can notice a little bit of asymmetry. And if you notice, similar to that front to back one, it was also my left leg. So there's some, consistencies there left to right side. So again, for that inner thigh one, we're trying to do 2 to 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions on each leg. And again, if you need to go a little bit lighter, then just kind of decrease those numbers. Maybe you only do 8 repetitions, maybe only 5. But the idea is that we're trying to engage those inner thigh muscles, okay? So take a look at some of those exercises. Again, if you have any questions, if you have further things, like, ooh, that made my back feel worse, or ooh, like I couldn't even feel that at all. I have thousands of different exercises that we can try to figure out, to see where we can get those muscles to turn back online again. So please reach out if you have more questions.